Okay, welcome to this video. In this video, we're going to be taking a specific look at the compromise phase in Activity 225, Exploring Security Frameworks. Excuse me, 325, Exploring Security Frameworks. So at this point, you've already completed the reconnaissance phase, in which we took a look at the network topology using ZenMap. And then we scanned the specific computer, Pump PLC, using Nessus software in order to determine if there were any exploitable services. So in this phase, which starts in the activity at step 29, we're going to walk through using the Metasploit framework. This is a framework that's used to perform penetration tests. It helps pen testers develop exploits, build custom tests so they can assess weaknesses and vulnerabilities in a system or network. So it's really powerful, should be used in the most disciplined manner. The framework includes a console, command line, web interface, and this activity we're just using kind of the command line, the console. So we're going to be running this out of PowerShell here. So we want to make sure that we're really careful. What we're going to do here is we're going to go ahead and get started by launching PowerShell. And once PowerShell is open, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be starting the Metasploit database service. So here you can see I'm typing MSFDB and then the keyword start. So this should start up our database. And we can see that that was successful here. And next, what we need to do is we need to enter MSF console in order to start enabling us to search for a specific exploit in the database. So it's at this time, while we're waiting for this, that you might be opening your Quick Scan Plus report of the Pump PLC in order to make sure that that we recall which specific exploitable service we found, or perhaps the Nessus information that we stored. So both of those indicate that it is Pro FTPD version 1.3.5 that's running on the Pump PLC that is been identified by the Nessus scan as an exploitable service. So we are going to here, once we receive the prompt, we should see a prompt change in which we should see the letters MSF, which will indicate that we are in the command line of the Metasploit framework. And it's at that point that we could search for our, okay, and there you go. We can see this. We've got our little ninja ASCII character, and it says that there's certain modules that couldn't be loaded. That's fine. It looks like 1,770 exploits were loaded, and I think we're going to find our Pro FTPD version 1.3.5 there. So in the command line down below here, we're going to go ahead and type in search, and then with the space Pro FTPD. So search is our keyword, and the exploit we're looking for is Pro FTPD. So if we hit that, it could take a minute or so, depends. Okay, it looks like it found it relatively quickly. We can see here down at the bottom, there's a number of different Pro FTPD versions that look like they're exploitable, but at the very bottom here we can see that we've got version 1.3.5. So we're going to have to type in that exploit/Unix/FTP/Pro FTPD. Like, we're going to have to be careful typing this in. We're going to use the keyword use. So in order to actually deploy an exploit, we need the keyword use. So let's go to the command line, type in use, and then here we have to be very careful. exploit/Unix/FTP/Pro FTPD_modcopy_exec. And then we can hit enter. This prompt is going to, you can see it changed. We can see here in red that it is identified that we are currently in that exploit. So it's found it, we've activated that exploit, and now we have to configure it. So there's usually a few things that you need to configure in order to deploy an exploit, and one of those is the remote host. So, but we'll look at options here. So in order to pull up our options, we're going to type in Now you just need to type in show options. There we go. and we can see a number of things that we can use to configure this exploit. And specifically, we're going to be utilizing that R host for remote host. We're going to aim that at the pump PLC IP address, 10.2.0.5. And we also need it needs a directory that you can write to in order to. So we're going to aim it at a directory a lot of Unix machines have. A writable directory that's in the www folder. So here you can see that our host was confirmed, that it's been set underneath the command set our host or remote host. And now let's type set site path /var /www/html. That's a path that's often writable on Unix servers that still have their default configuration. All right, here you can see that we have set the site path, and that means at this point we're ready to actually launch the exploit. So we launch the exploit by just using the keyword exploit. So up at this point it's been configuration. We went into the database, we found a possible exploit, we selected that exploit, we sort of moved into that exploit directory, we've done some configuration, and now we're actually going to run the exploit. So let's type in exploit. And relatively quickly we can see it started a reverse TCP handler on 10.2.0.8, port 4444, which is the computer that we're on, the target Windows machine, and it connected to the FTP service on 10.2.0.5, the pump PLC. And we just see a cursor down here with no command line, but we're actually in the pump PLC. So we've managed to get inside and compromise the system. So one of the things we could do is we could actually type commands down there. It looks a little odd because we don't have a prompt. But one of the things we could do is we could type who am I, and who am I should reveal what user we're leveraging on the pump PLC machine. So let's go ahead and type in who am I. All right, and here we can see that it's www-data. So that's the user that we have compromised. So we're in the system as that user by leveraging that exploitable service. So we're in a hacked environment. That's really what that no cursor is. We can do some other things. We can ls to list things. We can use a lot of our Linux commands. One of the things that a hacker would probably do is use the host name in order to verify which machine they were on. So one of the things we could do is type in host name. And here you can see it reports that we are on pump PLC, so we've confirmed that we have actually exploited pump PLC using that exploitable service. Another thing was to verify the IP address of the machine. So for instance, we could type ifconfig, that's the Unix command, and the port ETH0 is the port that we were connecting with in earlier labs. So if you type ifconfig ETH0, here we can see we've got some internet information. So we've got the hardware address, the MAC address, we've got the IP address, 10.2.0.5 on that second line. We can see some network information that's running. We can see the internet 6 address. So yeah, we've got some plenty of information here. We verified that we are on pump PLC, that we are in a hacked environment, and we could actually confirm access to passwords. So we're going to go ahead and run a cat command. Remember, cat displays things, contents of files to the screen. And so we're going to go ahead and cat to a specific subdirectory that is contains a kind of a mocked up password file. So this is a training exercise. So so they've put a you'll see they've put a list of users on pump PLC. So all users in pump PLC are in this file. So let's go ahead and type cat space /etc, because it's in a subdirectory, /passwd, and that should get us the password file. So we're going to see all the users in this file. You can see root and daemon and mail. And as you get further down the list, you'll see that the people who created this sort of mocked up user account was a Star Wars fan, because down here under Vagrant, you can see Leia Organa, Princess Leia, Luke Skywalker, Han Solo, R2-D2, C-3PO, and some other characters from Star Wars. So it's kind of fun. So at this point, we've now confirmed that we've gotten into the system, and we've actually got compromised data here. We've got user names and some password hashes, and so we're going to go ahead and you're going to need to answer some questions when you get to this point. Step 39 has a couple of questions. What were the effects of launching the exploit? What were the ethical consequences and responsibilities of testing this vulnerability? So make sure to answer those questions. And then there's an important protection measure there. But we're going to go ahead and, because I'm on the video here, we're going to walk through how to quit Metasploit. It involves hitting Control-C possibly a couple times. Then it's going to ask you to abort the session. We're going to type yes. We might type quit at some point to get out of MSF, and then exit out of the system here. So let's see, that was a Control-C, and I hit it twice. So here we're going to hit yes for abort. And you can see we're back into our MSF console. We're going to quit the MSF console, or the MSF console, which should get us back to our. There's a terminate batch job. Let's hit yes, and we're back to users and administrators. And I typed exit there to exit the Windows PowerShell. So that completes our video run through of the compromise phase of Activity 325, Exploring Security Frameworks.